Hey guys, my name is Steve Holbrook and I'm an entrepreneur from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I have this deep-seated belief that every single person has something inside of them that if they could find it and they could figure out how to utilize it, could start to live a life on purpose. And that's my belief. And that's what I'm dedicating my life to, helping people get free, helping people live a life on purpose. That's what this is about. All right, so here we are at my family's ranch that my mom and dad worked so hard to build. You know, being here to me symbolizes everything that my family represents. Hard work, determination, family first focus. You know, a lot of my kids' memories have been here. I mean, my kids were born, into this environment. So being here with family, creating memories, in a place that my parents worked for 40 years to be able to build and establish and now start to create a legacy that, I'm gonna be able to carry on, my kids are gonna be able to carry on. My parents have always believed in me, and they've always instilled in me that, if I work hard and I stay dedicated to something and I don't quit, that's where the goodies come. And my parents respected me through the process early on when I wasn't making any money. They respected me because of my determination and my focus and my passion. And as I started to get more results, I think the support went from, we're here to support you, to, wow, this is actually happening. And that kind of took on a life of its own. Steve Holbrook was built from the examples and leaders that were before him. And that's what inspires me to be the best version of myself for them. Man, when I first started own business, I was 23 years old. I was making $11 an hour as a baker. I was working 40 to 50 hours a week, and I was paycheck to paycheck, like most 23-year-olds. So I was starting a business in an area where I knew nothing about, and all I had was a dream. I always had this belief that I was different by design, not better, but different. I've had Crohn's disease since I was 2. So I always felt different. I was often sick and showing up to class late, or I'd spend a couple days in the hospital, so I'd miss an exam, or I'd miss hockey games, my team would come see me. So I had a little different path growing up. But what it did is it started to manifest in my brain, the belief that I was destined to do something big. The older I started to get, the more I started to realize that more people could relate to my struggles than my victories. And as I came into, my teenage years and then eventually into this business, what I realized is that what I thought was my darkest secret and the things I hated about myself the most, my illness, what I realized is that I had the power now to inspire people with those exact things. So there was this crossover point where I kind of felt insecure and insignificant to, man, I could literally go and inspire the world with my story, and how many other people are struggling with things out there that they need to talk about so other people can relate. So I had that feeling in me, and I needed a platform. And there's no employment opportunity that was going to give me the platform for me to be able to design my life for what I wanted. So this was the natural fit. This business found me. I didn't find it. I always wanted to be somebody. And I watched the AC/DC show on TV when I was 7 or 8. And since then, I had this dream where I'd be speaking on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people. It was just this recurring dream, and I buried it. And when I was 23 years old, I got invited out to a meeting, and that dream came alive. And since then, I've been building an insurance financial agency here in Canada. We have offices all the way from Victoria, all the way to Prince Edward Island, and all the way in between. And we run an insurance agency now, basically across Canada. Success is an interesting word. I feel like success in entrepreneurship seems to be a buzzword the last couple of years. Success in my business is a business that's growing, a business that's adding new reps, a business that's generating more income. So for me, success is progress. And as Tony Robbins says, progress is happiness. So when I'm progressing, I'm happy. And when I'm happy, I feel successful. Three keys for me in getting to where I've gotten. Number one is preparation. I realized early on that I was never gonna be the most talented, I was never the most gifted, I was never the smartest in school, but I knew that I could out-prepare everybody. So my whole thing with public speaking, with every meeting that I'm in, whether it's a client or it's on stage in front of 40,000 people, is I know that I can out-prepare everybody. The other thing that we don't talk a lot about, but you know what, I'm really proud of it, is I would say I have a short memory. So when things aren't working the way I want, I have the ability to let go of those things very quickly. See, I'm in business with people and I'm in life with people that they're hanging on to things that happened 5, 10, 15 years ago, and it's become a part of their identity. And I still have bad moments, but very rarely do I have a bad day. I'll have a bad half a day once in a while, but I'm not gonna let it define me. And I think the last thing is building leaders. I mean, we're here in this beautiful hotel, right, on top of the world. There's no way I would have gotten here had I not built a great team around me. I have an entire team of men and women that are better than me. Building leaders is the key to being successful. When I got out of university, I had two options. Option one is I could have been a general manager of a restaurant in Edmonton, Alberta. I'd been working there for 9 years. And they were grooming me to be a GM. It was a 6-figure income. The problem for me is it wasn't entrepreneurship. It wasn't my own business. So that quickly was off the table. The second opportunity was to go work in the family business. My mom and my dad and my family had built a very successful masonry company in Canada. It was founded in 1956. So going into the family business, being the oldest son, third generation, it just seemed to kind of make sense. But there was something on my heart that was pulling me a different direction, and I didn't know what it was. So when the opportunity came after school to go into the family business, I remember having that conversation with my parents, say, listen, it's just not my path. And it was a really hard decision to have, and it was nothing against their business. It was nothing against how they managed their company. It just wasn't my path. It wasn't in line with the dream that I was having as a young boy. So I set out onto this journey. All my friends told me I was crazy. Most of my family didn't believe in me, but my parents did. They said, Stephen, you can do whatever you put your mind to. I was so proud to have them as parents. You fast forward 15 years, and you know what? My parents, they just said, it's time. It's time to start a new phase. A family business that was founded in 1956, the doors finally closed. And I'm just so proud of the journey that my family went on. I've been battling Crohn's disease since I was 2 years old. Right before I had my first surgery, the surgeon came in and he sat down beside my bed. He said, listen, there's a chance that you're never gonna be able to have kids again. And that was on my mind literally every single day. All I wanted was kids. All I wanted was a family. All I really wanted was to leave a legacy. All my visions, everything that I ever wanted was all for the legacy, was all for the kids I hadn't had yet, all for the life that I hadn't built yet. So to hear that on top of everything, it was super scary.
Dad!
What?
Daddy, what are you doing?
That day when my wife told me that we were pregnant with our first kid, I think that might have been the best day of my entire life. The one thing I never struggled with was vision. I always knew where I wanted my life to go. And I remember the day that I met my wife. And I knew the day I met her that this was the girl I was going to marry. There was one thing in particular that stood out about her. My wife has the ability to put everybody else ahead of herself. That woman is the most selfless woman that I'd ever met. And the crazy thing is I met my wife only 3 months prior to getting my surgery. January, I went in for my surgery and I came out of the hospital in November. That gal sat beside my bed every single day. She massaged my feet, she massaged my hands, she watched me cry, she watched me battle, she helped me get off the floor when I got knocked down. She was there for all the conversations. And I knew that I had to marry this girl. Yeah, in terms of pivotal moments, there's been a bunch, but the one that comes to mind was this. In 2008, I'd been in business for 3 years, and I knew that I needed a mentor. One day, our company did an online auction item, and there was this auction item where you could spend 1 day with Ed Milet. And I decided that no matter what, I was gonna win this. I didn't care what it was gonna cost me. So I went and I bid $12,000 American online to spend 1 day with Ed Milet, just for the hope and chance that this man could be a part of my life moving forward. Well, guess what happened? I ended up winning that auction item. I actually ended up winning it by $7,000, and it was amazing. We turned 1 day into 3, and there was a moment there where we were driving and I was telling him my story, and for some reason he kept saying, man, I see so much of myself in you. And there was this moment where he leaned over to me, he said, hey, I'm gonna be to you what my mentor was to me. And from that moment on, this man's been in my life. He's been one of my best friends and my mentors, and that was the start of real mentorship for me in my life.
My first impression of Steve was that he was very put together, to be honest, almost too polished when I very first met him. But as soon as you get to know him, you start to learn just how real he is, his story, where he comes from, how down to earth he actually is, and he's a visionary. He is always thinking so far. He's thinking like 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road sometimes. And it's really cool because that energy is infectious, and you almost have to reel him in every now and then, like, hey, dude, I don't know if we can actually do that. But then he tells you know what, let's go do it anyway.
To someone that doesn't know Steve, I would describe him as absolutely dedicated, like does not lose focus as to what he's going after. He is the most determined, ambitious, focused guy I think I've ever met.
All right, so what advice would I give somebody who wants to be successful? You know, I get asked that a lot. The first thing you need to do is you gotta figure out, what do you wanna be successful at? Everybody loves the idea of being successful. Everybody wants to win and have this joyous life and grow and make money, but you gotta get specific with exactly what do you wanna be successful at. And for me, I'd even take it one step further. Why do you wanna be successful? If you can figure out, if you can tie in why you wanna be successful, and it's something worthy of going after, that's the first step. Then you need a game plan. Okay, a mentor of mine said, listen, the first thing you need is you need to visualize it. Once it's in your mind, then you gotta put it on paper, right? So it's in your mind, then it's on paper, and then we need to execute. So we need a written game plan. You can't just be excited about something. You can't just, like the idea of something. You need a written game plan that you can follow on a daily basis. It's like a blueprint. So you gotta get clear on why you wanna be successful, and you gotta figure out exactly what you wanna be successful at. My wife and I have a mission to make a global impact on people. So what does that mean? There's 2 areas that we want to make an impact. Number 1 is we believe in entrepreneurship. We believe that everybody deserves the opportunity to get into business, to start to have that control, start to get paid what they're worth, start to build that legacy. We love entrepreneurship and everything that it brings, all the goodies, all the challenges, all the growth. The second way we want to make an impact is this. There's a huge lack of financial education here in Canada and North America, and quite frankly, globally. So we are totally dedicated and we're totally focused to building a large licensed army, the largest distribution network in the history of financial services, because there's millions of families out there living quiet lives of desperation that need help getting out of debt, proper insurance protection, getting a plan for their retirement. And they're tired of dealing with these high net worth institutions that require $400,000 or $500,000 to invest. We're fighting for the little person, the middleman, right? The single mom with 2 kids. We're fighting for the average Canadian, and that's our mission. We want to help people progress financially, and I can't wait to do it for the rest of my life. Anything worth doing in life is going to be hard. Listen, you don't need it to be easy. You need it to be possible. When I started at 23 years old in business, when I was making $11 an hour and I wanted to become an entrepreneur, I knew this wasn't going to be easy. But anything worth doing is not easy. You think about all the easy things that you do in your life, you don't get a lot of fulfillment out of that. So stop looking for easy and start looking for possible, because possible is what you need. I don't judge things on whether they're going to be easy or they're hard. I look at something and go, is that going to be worth it? Is that something I need to do? Is this something that's in line with my purpose? And if it is, then now I got to figure out how long it's going to take me to get it. Now I have to decide, am I willing to pay the price up front and in full? And if I am, we hit it and there's no looking back. Let's talk about being a leader. You know, everybody seems to get so concerned with being perfect before they think they can lead. Being a leader is simple. The most important thing to understand is you just have to be walking down the path. Okay, I want to follow somebody that is totally committed, that has desire, that's fired up, that's excited about where they're going. That's the kind of person I want to follow. I tell my team all the time, I say, listen, I would rather take 0% potential, 100% commitment than 100% potential and 0% commitment. Being a leader is just about being the example. So what are some things you could be an example for? Well, your mindset, your attitude, being positive, right? Being excited, being focused, being prepared, showing up early, sitting in the front row. Those are all things that don't cost you any money, and those are all things that you can start doing immediately to be a leader. Let's talk about mind over matter. Mind over matter is something that needs to show up in every area of our lives. Not just in our fitness, not just in our relationship, not just in our business. Mind over matter needs to be present everywhere. Here's the deal. Most of us operate based on how we feel. We wake up in the morning, and depending on how we feel in the morning will tell us what we decide to do. The champions, what they do is they're habitually driven. So no matter how they feel, no matter about their headache or where the kids are at or what's going on behind the scenes or how mom and dad are feeling, the champions operate at a habit because they have a job that needs to get done, something that needs to happen, and they're willing to do whatever they have to do in order to do that. Now, if I operated based on how I feel, I wouldn't get anything done. There's always things going on behind the scenes in all of our lives. So it's so important that you build your plan based around the habits that you need to accomplish that plan. And then again, just to repeat it again, how you feel has nothing to do with what you need to do every single day. See, everybody struggles with things, but here's the key. The key is you've got to take all the hurt, all the pain, all the struggle that you've had in your life, you got to lean on it, you got to leverage it, and you got to point it towards everything that you want. Sometime life knocks you down, yes? Most people are rolling around like their setbacks define them. But really what defines you is how you show up when adversity hits. What do you do when things get tough? You run away? Do you hide? Do you blame other people? That's not going to work. I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. It'll change over time, I'm sure, but I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I get everything from this business. The relationships, the juice, the hunger, the desire, the fuel to live. It all makes sense. I can be an example to my kids. I can be an example to the team. I can admit that I'm wrong and make mistakes and get up and do it again. And I want to close on this. What does your best life look like? What does your best life look like?